There are three enemies of personal peace: regret over yesterday's mistake, anxiety over tomorrow's problems, and ingratitude for today's blessings. William Ward. Anxiety is rooted in your brainstem. It comes from the part of the emotional center in your brain that regulates fear. It tends to activate the fight or flight portion of your nervous system, causing the release of stress hormones, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, etc. At the same time, it inhibits your neocortex, the part of your brain that gives you intellect and allows for decision making. And indeed, you may have noticed that you, or people you know suffering from anxiety, tend to make much worse decisions than people who are calm, aware, and thoughtful. Anxiety is defined as a combination of fear, worry, nervousness, possibly also anger. In very simplified medical terms, your neocortex perceives some event, either in the past or anticipated in the future, as bad in some way. It sends signals to the amygdala, a part of your brain that regulates emotions, among other functions. The amygdala then signals to your hypothalamus, and eventually the signal reaches your adrenal glands, releasing cortisol, a steroid-based stress hormone, as well as epinephrine and norepinephrine. Those are amino acid-based hormones that activate your sympathetic nervous system, responsible for that fight or flight response. Note that you don't need some immediate life-threatening emergency, like being chased by a grizzly bear or something, for the fight or flight response to be activated, at least at some low-grade chronic level. Fear of being chewed out by the boss is more than enough. The effects of anxiety are felt everywhere in your body: depression, headaches, muscle aches, faster heart rate, higher blood pressure, upset stomach, and for some, outright panic attacks, as well as insomnia and fatigue are common secondary effects. It causes loss of confidence, making social interaction more strained and unpleasant for both the person suffering from anxiety as well as those nearby. Simply put, anxiety has a very strong and very negative impact on your physical health, intellectual capacity, emotional well-being, and social standing. Even more simply, anxiety well and truly sucks. By inhibiting your neocortex, it makes it harder to think clearly, to make smart decisions, to learn and remember key topics, to understand complicated or abstract concepts. Your mind just doesn't work well when it's anxious. It's so unpleasant that most people will find some way to treat, quote-unquote, their anxiety. They often do so unwittingly. To get some relief from their anxiety, some people will rush to the fridge and grab something to eat, even when they aren't hungry. And how often have you heard someone say, "I need a drink," when dealing with a stressful event? Those methods aren't particularly effective, and they cause other problems themselves. Anxiety leads to other health problems. It's almost as if anxiety is a malevolent intelligence seeking clever and subtle ways to cause you harm. So it's settled then. Anxiety is bad. So let's all stop being anxious. Problem solved. Let's go celebrate. Joking aside, some people act as if it really were that simple. Relax. Be cool. Or, my personal favorite, just let it go. Let's see if we can find more complete instructions. Anxiety, like many of those things we shouldn't do, becomes a habit after a while. Just like other habits, your brain and nervous system changes so that you become anxious naturally whenever you sense the right cue or signal. And like other bad habits, it's very hard to break. But also, like other bad habits, you can break it. People do quit smoking. They do recover from alcoholism. And they do conquer anxiety. It's just that conquering it requires work. Work that a lot of people just don't want to do. After all, why work when you can just pop a pill? For those willing to try it, meditation is the most powerful tool to defeat anxiety. It could easily be more effective than anxiolytic medications, and without any of their side effects. Other things can also work, going to the gym, etc., but let's focus on meditation for now. For meditation to work, you have to do it regularly. You have to practice it until you get better at it. It's like a good habit, and like other good habits, it's hard to pick up. But also like other good habits, once you've picked it up, you do it automatically. It becomes a normal and natural part of your day. Over time and practice, meditation actually changes your brain and nervous system. The nerve cells in the amygdala, particularly in that part that regulates stress and fear, actually become smaller. And at the same time, the nerve cells in your hippocampus, a part of your brain that plays a major role in learning and memory, become larger. So how do we meditate? You can find quite a few videos describing meditation techniques, but in short, it is a matter of focusing on your breath, focusing on an object, focusing on a vision, or focusing on a concept. Teaching your mind to concentrate on one thing, something besides the cause of your anxiety, of course. You're concentrating just fine on that already. Let's give one of those techniques a try right now. Sit down or lay down in the most comfortable way you can. Close your eyes and breathe normally, just like you do all the time without even thinking. Except now, I want you to think about it. Think of the air passing through your nose and into your lungs. Think of how your lungs expand and contract like a pair of balloons. Think of how the oxygen is circulating through your blood. Breathing is the single most crucial thing we do, and you hardly gave it a thought until now. After a time of concentrating on your everyday breathing, let's move on to the next step. Taking in slow, deep breaths to the maximum of your lungs capacity. Hold it for a second or two, and now slowly exhale as completely as you can, emptying your lungs as much as possible. Repeat this several times. Lastly, try quick shallow breaths through your pursed lips. It looks funny, but it works. Don't do too many, just 5 or 7 breaths, otherwise you'll hyperventilate and start to feel dizzy. Do these exercises throughout the day whenever you have an opportunity, and then devote some time at home for doing just those exercises. And each time you do it, try as best you can to think about nothing except your breathing. Keep it up for a week or two, and let me know in the comments how it worked for you. I think you'll be very happy with the results, but let me know either way. We'll discuss various other techniques in other videos. Thank you so very much for spending your valuable time with me. I wish you peace and good health always. Yours very truly, Ziad Sawi, MD.